Well, here we are, the final game of what has been 2 years of Championship football for Plymouth Argyle. Last season's final day survival is a distant memory because today, despite an upturn of form, it is farewell to the second tier for what we all hope is just one season. Although relegation isn't yet official, fans, players and staff have been making their peace with it over the past 7 days. It's been a testing 10 months and it all comes to a conclusion at Home Park this lunchtime. One of the big boys, Leeds United, are in town and they have the biggest prize of all at stake. Daniel Farke's side are going strong for the title. Hello, good afternoon. I am Erin Black and you're watching Matchday Live here on Argyle TV, live from Home Park for the final time this season, and it is lovely weather for it, although Argyle will be playing League One football next year, so this is a farewell today to the second tier. Unfortunately, the fight to survive for the Greens just didn't come quite quick enough. We do, though, have plenty at stake here this afternoon. Leeds United were promoted last week and they have the title in their sights. They would be crowned champions with a win today. And as always, Argyle TV is the place to watch all of the action. With that, we'll have the build-up for you over the next 30 minutes. Your match passes, both audio and video streaming, are available to purchase on the website. Just in case you didn't already know it by now, that is pafc.co.uk for all of the details. And I'm pleased to say joining me for the final game of the season is none other than former Argyle defender Mark Edworthy. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Erin. How are you? Like you said, a beautiful day for football, it really is. And yeah, a lot at stake, as you said. We already know that Leeds did gain promotion to the Premiership. I think we've got to give them a huge congratulations, and they could really seal it here this afternoon with lifting the trophy. So big game, an exciting game this afternoon.
They could, yeah, absolutely. I think it's certainly going to be a big afternoon. Of course, it won't be a big afternoon for positive reasons for Argyle. I mean, there are still some very bizarre set of circumstances that could make it all come true, but I'm not quite sure a 14-0 win today and Luton losing would quite come off.
No, it's been, really unfortunate because I think the last run of games have been excellent, but unfortunately we've just left it a little bit late, and I'm a firm believer that 46 games over the campaign, you are where you are at the end of the season, and we've just sort of run out of games or run out of time. I think it was a great effort, different managers, different personnel, that happens throughout the season, and consequently it's, enforced our relegation, unfortunately.
I mean, while it was a little too late, it was nice to see Argyle start to come into form in the last, few weeks, because it gives you a little bit of positivity for hopefully what we may see next season.
Yeah, definitely. I think you've got to give credit to the staff, to the supporters, the players, obviously, the most important. They have put in a fantastic run. And they did give us hope, and I think actually we can, to give it to the last game of the season, okay, there's a 14-goal deficit, but it went to the last game of the season, against Hull, and we managed to do it, and we knew it was going to be an uphill battle, and we played some great football here at times, but that elusive away win took too long to get, and then unfortunately we were losing at home, and too many points in too many games unfortunately slipped away from us.
Yeah, I mean, technically it has come down to the last game of the season as well, really, because you can't officially put Argyle out of the running until we play, but I think people have come to peace with the situation, having, had the opportunity to build up to it a little bit, which maybe makes the blow a little bit easier to deal with.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic effort. 2 seasons in the Championship. The club is in, fantastic state. Look at the amount of fans we get. It's a sellout every home game. Things going on behind the scenes, but unfortunately, when you do drop out the Championship and you go down to League One, things change. Players are out of contract, managers, staff. There's a lot to deal with when the season finishes, and that's something that will happen obviously after today's game.
Where do you think it went wrong for Argyle? Can you pinpoint one specific area, or do you think it's a culmination of a lot of different things?
Well, I think what it was, we were relying on ourselves too much at home. When you're constantly getting beat away from home, Aaron, it puts so much pressure on your home games. And look at the facilities here, like we said, people coming to Home Park thinking what a fantastic place this is to play. And even though we had some fantastic results, I think it dragged on too long. If we picked up a few more away wins, we wouldn't be in this situation. I really believe that. And maybe a change of personnel, a change of manager. Rooney came in and we played some great football, and then we went on, a bit of a bad run. So it's a number of things that unfortunately went wrong. throughout the season.
Well, like you said, there's not much to be done about it now. We just kind of have to sit back and enjoy the game of football that we're about to see. So let's have a look at those players who have been picked for the starting 11 for you this afternoon. Connor Hazard, Barley Mumba, Cornell Suge, Joe Edwards, Ryan Hardy, Mustafa Bundu, Adam Randall, Mohamed Tijani, Caleb Roberts, Maxim Telavierov and Victor Palsson. And on the bench, Grimshaw, Ogbeta, Houghton, Wright, Boateng, Katic, Sorinola, Beidou and Isaka. It's 3 changes for us today, Mark. I mean, you know, when you look at the lineup that Miran Music has put out, well, it's difficult because Argyle want to go out with their heads held high. Leeds are here wanting to win the league. So, you know, when you pick a squad on a game like today, what do you think the thought process is behind it?
Yeah, I think, you know, he still wants to play his best squad or certainly be competitive. Caleb Roberts is back in there, so that's great for him. He only seems to play against Leeds United, doesn't he? So, you know, delighted for Caleb and his family, who will definitely be here to support him today. He's just signed a new 3-year contract, so he is really the base of the future of the club. Freddie Zaka, is it possible he could have started? We'd like to see him start, but the manager's obviously made his choices. 3 changes for us. The captain comes in, obviously Joe Edwards. He will lead by example, and he'll think that squad that he's put out today is good enough to beat Leeds United. Yeah,
we're missing, you know, big names like Katic and Plegathwello out with injury. Obviously no Darko JB either, because Leeds are his parent club. We spoke to him on the breakfast show earlier. I think this is going to be a game of very mixed feelings for him.
It certainly is, and I think credit to him. He's had a great season, he really has. You know, on loan, he's been here for a couple of seasons now, and like I say, he's meeting up with his friends and colleagues. And that's obviously why he can't play today, because he's a Leeds United player. But I think what he's done here, he's gained a lot of confidence. He's become a better player, and you know, at 20 years of age, you know, great credit to him.
Yeah, you talk about the good form that Argyle's been in recently, and part of that is down to Ryan Hardy and Mustafa Bundu. They'll be looking to deliver for their final game of the season today and give Argyle something at least to cheer about.
Yeah, they have. But that's been a fantastic partnership. And going back to what you said, Aaron, maybe a little bit too late, because you know, Bundu is scoring, he's a real handful. Hardy has come in and started scoring goals. They're a real threat. Pace, power, goals in the game. And unfortunately, with Bundu and Hardy being injured at certain periods of the season, could that have been a real costly factor for Argyle?
Ryan Hardy actually player of the season, and Darko JB young player of the season. So nice for both of them, to, especially, you know, Darko, to get a bit of recognition here on loan.
Yeah, definitely. I think he got better and better throughout the season. His first season I thought he did well, but this season he's really, you know, improved. He's matured, and he's putting some great performances. He really has. And Hardy, you know what Hardy can produce. Unfortunately, when he did miss some key games through that injury, you know, what could his goal tally have been? And fully deserves, because you know, he doesn't score easy goals. He's a real threat, he's a real handful, and he's certainly one to watch. Yeah,
it's difficult when you get to this point of the season and you're being relegated, because you're conscious that so many of these players are going to want to be playing in the Championship next season.
Well, that's the thing. That's something that we talked about before, isn't it, with the chairman and the staff and the manager. You know, there's a lot of players here who are quality Championship players, and when you drop down to League One, they'll feel they don't want to be in League One. Yes, they may be in contract. Some players are out of contract, so I think it's going to be certainly a busy summer for Argyle for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot to keep your eyes on, but of course we've got to get through today first, so we should probably take a little look at the opposition that faces us. It is Leeds United, of course. The equation for them is simple. If they win, they are champions of the Championship, and they've won their last 2 games, scoring 10 goals in the process. This is their side. We've got Carl Darlow, Jaden Bogle, Ethan Ampadu, Joe Roden, Joel Pirot, Brendan Aronson, Mana Solomon, Autanaka, Sam Byron, Wilfred Nyonto and Ilya Gruev. And on their bench, Melier, Rovwell, Bamford, Ramazani, Joseph, Guilavogui, Schmidt, Verber and Gray. One change for them, Mark, and you know, some recognisable names on there, and players that are going to want out, and they're going to really want to pull the stops out and give that, hopefully, Championship winning performance.
Yeah, I think obviously Dan James has been snapped. Pirot, we know, is their top scorer. In a matter of goals they score as well in the last few games. They wasn't too sure if they were not only going to make promotion, but they confirmed that last weekend. And now coming here to Home Park, we know the amount of fans they brought down. Unbelievable support from Leeds United. And they want to finish it off and become champions. So it's between the two sides, obviously Leeds and Burnley. I would imagine 2 trophies are at 2 games, because whatever happens. But if Leeds take care of business here this afternoon, they are guaranteed champions, and great credit to them. But Argyle are in their way, so it's going to be fascinating.
And this is it again. You always look at these kind of fixtures on paper, and it often tends to be Argyle that are capable of pulling off what seems like the impossible, and they could put paid to Leeds.
Well, they definitely have. Look against Coventry, looking at Sheffield United, 2 huge games. Sheffield United were looking for that automatic promotion, they missed out, and Argyle in both of those games played magnificently well. So I think Argyle will fear that. Argyle have to be at their best, but only that, Leeds United are going to be at their best to beat Argyle this afternoon, because here at home park they're a real threat and they're hard to beat.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned Dan James, Junior Firpo as well, also a doubt coming into this game. We know he's not there on the roster. Joel Pirro, however, is, and he is the league's top scorer. So if anyone can come out and try and bolster Leeds' chances, it's going to be him.
Yeah, he's a real threat. I think unbeaten in 5 games, aren't they? And the amount of goals they score, that's the thing, Aaron. They got goals from all different departments, all different areas in their game and the field. So they're going to be tough, but Argyle, as we know, when sometimes the pressure's off a little bit, they've got nothing to lose.
Yes.
They want something to give back to their home fans. They know the support's been here all season. They play superbly well at times, and who knows, is it going to be the thorn this afternoon that's going to obviously make Leeds really struggle here?
Yeah, when you think about the pressure, of course Leeds know they're going up next season, so they've got that ticked off in the bag, but is there still a certain amount of pressure into actually being the ones to win the league?
I think it's more, obviously there is pressure in any game, but I think when you're going for the title, that you are a bit more relaxed. It's a bit of excitement in there as well, and think, they've already got promotion, so the pressure's off. Same with Burnley. Yeah, it'll be lovely to finish it off, but they know they guarantee their Premiership status next season. But to finish off is the icing on the cake, and I think it's more excitement, and they'll be warming up and they'll be ready for this. And I'd imagine the camaraderie and the team spirit in that Leeds dressing room is, look guys, we can make history for ourselves today. Some lads have maybe never been in the Premier League, and to win something as well is very big.
Well, the Leeds United fans have come down in force to Plymouth. They're just past the tunnel to the left of Mark and myself. You can't really ask for a nicer weekend for them to actually come. Bank holiday weekend, the sun is out, and they may end up winning the league. I mean, this is really what dreams are made of in football.
Oh, it certainly is. I think every hotel in Plymouth's taken up, isn't it? I think there's about probably 6,000 down at the Barbican, and if they win today, it's certainly going to be a celebration. So, yeah, as you say, great support. As long as it's all done in the right spirits, as we hope. It's a game of football at the end of the day. The battle takes place out there, but after we shake hands and enjoy the success of both teams.
Yeah, exactly. I think anyone out and about on the Barbican tonight, there will be a swathe of yellow
100%.
and white around there. Of course, for us here on the other side of the table, it has been a difficult week for everyone associated with Argyle. Miron Muslic did cut a heartbroken figure at Deepdale last week. So how is he feeling about the finale today? He's been speaking to Charlie Price.
It's been a difficult week at the end of a difficult season as well. And, we can talk about in a moment the good spell that we've actually been in. But going into a game knowing that someone could be celebrating massively in Leeds at the end of it, and knowing we don't have anything necessarily to go out to play for, and yet they will still want to see something like they did against Preston. So how important is it that you can reiterate that message to the players that, listen, there's one more game, just go and absolutely blitz it, go and give it your all.
Because there's always something to play for. We play for our colours, we play for this badge, we play for our supporters. That's how you can also show respect in the end, even though that it was not enough for us as an organization, for us as team, to provide enough games to reach the big goal, staying up in our competition. So, and you have always something to play for. And I think we did this last week. I know that challenge can't be bigger now with Leeds, but if you just purely look back a couple of weeks, the performances against Norwich, against Sheffield United, against Coventry, also, by the way, very, very strong teams, and we still managed to perform, and we still managed to win the game. It felt like a home park as a fortress, and this is exactly also the mindset we have for the last game. It won't be easy, but actually everything was hard this season for us, so we are kind of used to having these obstacles and challenges in front of us. So why not one more time going all in for green and white?
Well, there's no question, Mark, that Miron Muslic has improved the side, really coming into his stride now. We've seen some great performances. It's just a shame we've run out of rope.
Yeah, we ran out of time, we ran out of games, and I feared that, Aaron, that was going to happen. When you rely on other teams, that's the problem. When it's out of your hands, it's very difficult, because we'd get a fantastic result and think, oh, we moved up the table, and you look, maybe the other teams have won, which they did. You know, Cardiff obviously have joined us, and then obviously Derby had won, and that's the problem. When it's not in your hands, it becomes very difficult. Yeah.
What do you think he's been able to achieve during his time here? What has he done to make those improvements?
Well, I think what he did, he really shored up defence and concentrated on not conceding goals. We played like a different style. You didn't see Conor Hazard playing out and risking football and encouraging the opposition to press. So he played very direct from the back, and then we would sort of counter-attack that time. But if you like pause the game at times, we had all 11 players behind the ball, really compact, really hard to beat. And then we started conceding a few goals, and then we started scoring goals. So it was a real mixed bag. And I think over the time he's been here, you know, he's gradually got better and improved, and the results have proven that in the last couple of weeks.
It's a tricky enough challenge to come in and take over a club, you know, 3/4 of the way through the season, really. And you'd like to think maybe going into next season, having that fresh start, that clean slate from the very beginning, and the support around him that he's spoken about, you know, his need to have, that he may be able to go on and do great things for the club.
I agree totally. I think when you have a pre-season with a football club, and it's your players you're working with and your personnel around the football club, then you've got the backing, you've got the support, and then you get judged on that. When you come into a football club and you're obviously going in and there's players you need which you can't have, and you've got to work with the current players, even though the crop of current players have been very good, he wanted to improve in certain areas of the field, and obviously got frustrated by that. And as we said, it was just unfortunately just a little bit too late.
Well, we've spoken about it before, you know, during that January transfer window in the recruitment team, saying you're eyeing up players that you think would work well under Rooney's style, and then that not being an option anymore, and they might not necessarily fit with the new head coach coming in. So there's a lot of moving parts in order to make a squad really work.
It really is, and I think you've got to give him credit for that, for taking over and certainly improving. I think we look back at the results and the game ratio, and we wouldn't have been in this position if he had been there at the start of the season. Yeah, that's the if buts and maybes, isn't it? And unfortunately what he's done, you know, I think he's got the fans on his side. He's proven to them that, you know, he loves this football club, and he wants to make his stay here worthwhile, and that hopefully will be returning next season.
Yeah, we just have a little while to wait in between then and now. Of course, it is a very different situation for the visitors this afternoon. They know they've already won that place in the Premier League for next season, but they will want to get the league trophy as well. Here is their manager, Daniel Farke.
Between your teeth this week to go and get this job done, I imagine, your players, you. After the scenes this week, is it sort of heightened it a little bit, just how much it would mean to go and win this now?
Yes, of course. We know that we have from now on more or less 48 hours of work, and of course we want to finish as strong as possible. The main job is done. We are promoted back to the Premier League, and no one can take this away. We have already made sure that we've played the best season in terms of points, goals, goal difference in the history of this club. We had a fantastic last final home game where everyone was celebrating. Also, great connection between the team, the whole staff, all our club people and our supporters. Great unity, a great day, but it would be, of course, the icing on the cake if you have also some silverware for the open bus tour, because it's always better when you have something in your hands. Otherwise, you don't know what to do with your hands. Put it in the pocket or whatever. It's always better to lift some silverware, and it's also pretty useful because you can also drink something out of it. So, of course, would be great also to crown ourselves. I have to say, Burnley is also playing a fantastic season. 97 points. Both teams is mental. They would also definitely deserve after their season to win the league, but so do we, and we have played a fantastic season. We know that if we win at least as many points as Burnley in the final home game, due to the fact that we have the better goal difference, we would crown ourselves as champions. But difficult task is waiting. Plymouth had a great last game. Sadly, the turnaround came a bit too late. I'm not sure if it's really beneficial for us, because if the pressure is away, I'm also quite sure they will try to also take a good momentum into their new season and want to be there with a good buy in front of their home fans. So I expect a difficult game for us. But of course, if we have the chance, and we will have the chance, and of course we want to crown ourselves also with.
The expectation is, of course, high for Leeds, but famously, it's always a bit of a risk to come to Home Park with high expectations of beating Argyle, because you never quite know what they might do.
Yeah, we're certainly unpredictable, aren't we? We really are, and we've proven that in the last few results. We surprised Sheffield United, we surprised Coventry, and the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
So they're coming here to be champions. Argyle want to show their fans what they're made of, and they want to return to the league next season. So it's going to be a great game. I'm looking forward to it.
Disappointment for them, of course, after losing last season's playoff final. You were talking about this earlier off air, just saying, you know, this is a bit long overdue for them. They would have been really had their eyes on the Premier League last season, so you know they want to make sure.
I think that they've been in the Premier League, and to regain your Premier League status, look at the club, look at the fan base, look at the history of Leeds United. But you've got to earn that right, Aaron. I think they have this season, and they've done that with Burnley. So good credit to them. Obviously, with the parachute payment also helps, and the squad. They've got a fantastic squad, money to spend, and that also helps as well.
Yeah, well, it will certainly be a good game and a memorable game later on this afternoon. And as we approach kickoff, it's about time we hand over. Mark, thank you very much. We'll be here to catch up at half-time as well. But your commentary team are standing by, ready to go. It's Charlie Price and Aaron Cusack with you. Go and grab your match passes now if you haven't got them already. It's Argyle versus Leeds United up next.